go ahead and record this. Okay, so welcome if you're just tuning into the VOD. For this replay, we're going to have Wolfie89 play Caitlyn. And this is, I think, like 1260 though. So, if we look at the lane lineups, we have Caitlyn with Soraka against, looks like it's going to be Sona Vayne. So, Caitlyn does really well against Vayne in the game. You have a huge range advantage on Vayne, and you need to really take advantage of that. So one thing I'm hoping to see you do is be very aggressive with your right clicks. To play Caitlyn effectively, you really need to have high enough action per minute and be pretty decent at animation canceling to where you can right click harass and right click them and then run away before they get the chance to right click you. If you can do that, you can play Caitlyn really well. And that's the secret to playing Cait well, is you're able to right click them and then run away before they can right click you back. And that's how you take advantage of her range, and that's why she's so strong in lane. It's that she can do that.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
So starting traps is always good with Caitlyn. One thing you can do with Caitlyn that's really, really powerful is you can go mid and lay traps. Let me unlock the screen. Lay traps across right here. This is very strong, and it forces them to take the traps to get to last hits, really, as it's very dangerous to just leave those traps there. And it's very, very strong if your mid is a skill shot based champion. Like Kennen has some skill shots, so like if they step in that trap, Kennen gets a free Q on them. It's very good against people. It's very good for skill shot champions in your mid lane. So Soraka's telling you to go to lane. You don't need to go to lane. You can hit this a few times and still make it back before any minions die. So, but that's okay. You want to look at the enemy jungle and see who that is when you're bot lane. Lee Sin can start red and go for an early bot gank, so you guys need to be really careful about that right now. This first trap, you should have tried to put in the tri-brush. You should have gone this way in the lane and warded the tri-brush early enough to where Lee Sin could come. Looks like Rammus is actually going to give you guys the early level 2 gank, so that's very nice for you. You guys weren't there to follow it up, but he did force the Sona flash. And that trap was just a little too late, but good job trying to get that trap out to trap the Sona. That was good to see. So you guys are definitely, you're in a good position right here. So right here, instead of stopping right there because you had nothing to last hit, go right click Vayne. That flash was completely unnecessary. You could have just walked up. There's no reason to flash. That's hilarious. So good trap, way to put it behind the Vayne so she couldn't run backwards. And then she actually ended up flashing into it, which is really funny. She just didn't flash into that, she would have been okay. But still, your flash was unnecessary there. You could have just walked up. And then so just in general with Cait, whenever you're not immediately going to be last hitting, try to right click them. Like right now, you're not last hitting. Right click that Sona, because she is in range of you. But we are getting ganked. Looks like unfortunately you don't have any traps, so looks like, good trap. That's gonna save your life. You should be able to take that Lee Sin down. I think it's hard to tell if you interrupted your auto attack by moving there. That last auto attack that would have killed the Lee Sin, but you missed your E is the big thing to note here. You're E'd into the wall, and you actually didn't create any distance. So if you actually, if you E'd backwards, you would have lived there. You also could have cleansed the slow on Lee Sin to help you get away, but that's okay. So you definitely, you probably should have used cleanse, but I don't think it would have mattered too much because Lee Sin did have red buff, and since your E didn't actually create any distance between you and Lee Sin, the cleanse wouldn't have helped. But so definitely that missed E cost you your death right there. And if you landed that E, you probably could have killed that Lee Sin and gotten red buff. And a Cait with red buff is the most annoying thing in the world. So good job using your Q to last hit the minions that you couldn't quite get to. That's good. Yep, and don't be afraid to trade with this Vayne. There you go. With Cait, you have the benefit, if people trade auto attacks with you like that, you have the benefit because of your range that you're going to be able to shoot them once they run away from further. So as soon as they turn around, you just right click them on Cait and you get a free auto attack on them. So if you trade evenly with them and force them to turn around first, you're going to come ahead on of a trade with Caitlyn. So, and there's another thing here. You're not last hitting, and this Vayne's in your auto attack range. Right click on her. Now the Sona's there, so right click on her. So you're trying to do a good job of harassing with your Q, but don't be afraid to harass with right clicks. So, like again, not last hitting. Go ahead and harass. You guys need wards up, and if you don't have wards up, then you need to put traps up. You need to, if you put a trap in Tribush, that would be very good for you guys right now. It's scary anytime you're against a Lee Sin because his ganks can be really strong, and that's one benefit of Kate is the utility of your traps. They can substitute for wards if your support hasn't gone back to base yet or just didn't have enough wards. One thing to remember whenever you're playing against a Vayne is just watch your positioning in terms of walls. Vayne Sona has a lot of damage if Vayne lands a pin on you, so don't let her pin you. Sona doesn't have CV, so if they don't have a ward in the bush, you don't have to be that afraid of being in the bush. But one thing to remember is, like, if they have CV, don't hide in bushes against Vayne because they can CV and then Vayne can stun you, and that's very dangerous. But so you're playing too passively in lane right now. You need to be harassing more with Kate. That's really, like, the big thing with Kate is your auto attack range can just harass really well. So that's how you win lanes with Kate, and you need to be working on that more. So there you go. Good. Right click and do it again. Like you went to miss a last hit to harass her again. So no last hits. Right clicker. Especially with a Soraka, like, you should be really willing to trade with a Soraka right now because of her heal, and if she heals you while you're trading so you get the armor buff, you're going to take, like, no damage. And so that was one of the things where I was saying, watch your positioning against a Vayne. Like, if you auto-attack from a bush, they can see you, and so you shouldn't be near walls. I know you want to be in this bush to get your headshot passives, but you really have to watch your positioning. Right now I'd be a little skittish because that aggression from Sona seemed kind of weird. Like, whenever you're playing in any lane, you want to, if you get a feel for how the enemy is playing and then they, like, suddenly go drastically more aggressive, that might be a tell that the jungle is about to gank you. So the fact that the Sona, like, fought you in, like, 6 creeps was kind of worrying. It's like, whoa, is Lee Sin here? He was actually mid, but I don't know if she just wasn't paying attention to the creeps, but that's always something to watch. So you have a headshot. That headshot should be going on Vayne's head. You're not missing any last hits, and you should be right clicking away. Like, right click, go back to her. Don't let her get that hit for free. That's a big thing. Like, don't let her get that hit for free as Kate. You could have auto attacked her once when she did, and then gotten her an extra time as she ran away and came out ahead. The big thing whenever you're playing with a Soraka in lane, don't be afraid to trade, because the thing with Sona does not have very good sustain in lane. She runs out of mana very quickly if you force her to sustain. So trades are very beneficial against the Sona lane. Especially if Sona hasn't been back to base, you can run her out of mana really easily. This was kind of a mistake by Soraka. Looks like you're actually going to be fine, but this ward is kind of useless. I really don't like this ward, so... But it looks like Rammus is going to counter gank, so you guys will be alright. I don't think anyone's going to die here. Yeah, you guys should just back out. The reason why I don't like this ward is if you ward Tribush, you see ganks coming a lot faster, and you should always have Dragon warded too, because you need Dragon warded. So I don't like this ward. I really hate warding this bush, because this bush gives you, like, if you ward this bush and a jungle comes through here to gank you, it's pretty much going to be too late by the time this ward sees them. You're not going to be able to run away. You want to ward here, because this lets you see Lee Sin come from a long way away, long enough that you have enough time to react and get out. And you should always have Dragon warded also. So if you ward Tribush and Dragon, you don't need this ward at all. You see more than this ward provides. So just in general with your Kate play, you're just playing way too passive. And Lee Sin's here, so it was a dangerous counter gank. It doesn't seem like anyone reacted to that Lee Sin. Like, that Rammus should not have gone in and took those turret hits since Lee Sin was there. But it's okay. You did have to force Soraka to ult, which is kind of a bummer. But so there you go. You're doing a good job of right-click harassing now. But it's kind of funny. Now you're right-click harassing when there's 3 people there. But when it's just 2v2, you're too scared to. But you were doing a really good job right there. You did so much harass damage, and that's how you need to play Caitlyn all the time. Yeah, and now you're playing like very aggressive harass, which is good. This is how you should be playing the whole time as Caitlyn. So yeah, and now you're back to playing passive and way back here. And, like, Sona's completely out of mana. Any harass you give is gonna stick, because if Sona keeps using her mana to harass, she's never gonna have enough mana to ulti or do damage. So you're in a really good position, and I mentioned this earlier today, but this is like why a Soraka lane is so strong, because they just out attrition you and eventually force you out of lane because of the sustain. So keep up the aggression right here and keep like harassing. If you play Kate, you need to get in the mindset of a bully, especially. And I just noticed this. You have boots and Dorans on this Vayne. With a boots advantage, you should be able to right-click this Vayne without ever being right-clicked by her. You just auto-attack her and then run away. And the only way that she's going to be able to auto-attack you back is if she tumbles into you, and then you just keep right-clicking her, because you have a Soraka. She has a Sona that's out of mana, and you have an extra Doran. So you should just right click on this Vayne and just wait. Just right click on that Vayne and just keep right clicking. Like, right click her all the way back to the turret, because you have an item advantage and a mana advantage in lane, and just a lane advantage by being Caitlyn. So when you play Caitlyn, you need to get in the mindset that you are a bully, and like you're like a mother badger protecting her creeps, because you're like, Vayne tries to last hit your creeps, and you're like, oh hell no, and you just run up and you fight her. And when you play Caitlyn, you need to get in that mindset that you're this big bully. That's because that's how you win with Kate. And if you're not doing that with Kate, there's no reason to pick Caitlyn. And like you switched to like this super aggressive harassing machine when you saw like there are 3 people low health. And like that's the mentality and the way you need to play when you're playing Caitlyn. The other thing I was gonna say is you guys needed to back when Vayne did, and yep, you're gonna die here because, well, that was a good trap, but it's iffy. That was a late cleanse. You could have cleansed a lot earlier, but looks like you'll be okay. Yep, you'll be okay. But that all could have been avoided if you just went back when Vayne did. Because now Vayne has item advantage on you, so now Vayne has BF sword, and you guys had no wards, and that was the biggest reason why you guys should have gone back, because it would have given you an opportunity to get some wards up, and you haven't had dragon warded like all game, which is really bad. Like, we don't even know if dragon's up right now. Lee Sin could have soloed it because we just have no vision. So. Yeah, and you're doing a pretty good job like of leading in CS, and but the thing is you could have like doubled this lead if you were just playing more aggressive. Like, that Sona was out of mana for like 5 minutes, and you still played really passive when Sona was out of mana. So one thing to always consider is you want to keep track of mana levels of your opponents. So like, you should have recognized that Sona was out of mana and played really aggressively in response. Just fight that Vayne right there. Like, shouldn't be afraid of that Vayne. You still have item advantage. Like, you have a Zeal on Vayne, so you should be really happy to trade with her. There you go. There you go. And just keep right clicking her. Okay, and that when you get the armor buff on Soraka, that's when you go and fight. It's like when you have the Janus shield on you, you fight with the Janus shield. When you have the armor buff on you, you fight because it's a big armor buff. And so we just saw LeBlanc run into that bush, so you're gonna have to be really careful because LeBlanc could probably like insta-kill you. She's being tricky. Okay, so good job laying down the harass. Okay, so good. You forced the Wonk ulti, so you really don't have to be that scared of her burst for like 20, 30 seconds. But so far you've played a pretty solid game. You just need to be a lot more aggressive when you play Caitlyn. If you're not going to play aggressive with Caitlyn, just don't pick her. There's other champions that fit the passive farm role a lot better than Caitlyn, like Vayne. Graves should be played aggressively, but Vayne's a good passive farmer. Like Ashe is, I still think Ashe is good. I think she's pretty underrated right now, but she's a good passive farmer. So you stopped the last hit a few minions, so you were really behind there, and we were able to force the Vayne cleanse, which is good, but you could have gotten a little bit of damage there if you had just been following Rammus a little better, but so in IRC people are asking, when someone more aggressive be more help to Soraka? You don't need the mana. Yeah, probably, but actually Soraka Kate's pretty good. Kate's actually really good with the mana because that Q really hurts, and with Soraka you can really spam it, and with the mana you can just really spam Kate's Q, and her Q is like really strong in lane. If you land it, it can be really powerful. So Kate's actually pretty good with Soraka. Kate's good with almost any support, because Kate's just good, period, in bot lane. And the other reason why Kate's really good at Soraka is because Kate's already pretty good at trading because of her range, but when you have a Soraka, it just lets her be even more of a bully. So Soraka's really good with Kate because it just keeps letting you be a bully. I don't know why, you've been low mana a lot, and I don't know if Soraka is just not giving you mana, or if you're just burning right through it, but your mana levels seem a little low this game. You're probably just burning through it, but keep harassing. But it's the biggest thing, like, I sound like a broken record, but it's the most important thing to playing Kate is just really aggressive harass. Like, I mean, don't miss CS because you're harassing, still farm, but like you're not outstanding right now, and there you go, harass the Sona, and that's just the most important part of playing Kate. Is just keep up the harass. And you got it's 20 minutes in, you guys have never had a dragon ward. I just want to point that out. That's really bad. You should be asking your support like, hey, can you ward dragon instead, or something like that. And, like, I wouldn't be afraid there. Like, once again, watch mana levels. Sona is out of mana. She can't ulti you. She can't do any damage to you. So you shouldn't have ran away. You should have just fought that Vayne. And the other benefit of Kate is, like, if you harass them out of lane, like if you have really strong harass and you harass them out of lane, you give your team a free dragon. Because if they have to back and you're still full health and pushed up, easy dragon. So that aggression right there is a little odd. I'd be a little scared of a jungle gank right now. The Sona seems to, like, randomly go aggressive and other times not. But once again, she has no mana, she can't ult, so like, I really wouldn't be that afraid. Yeah, there you go. See, now you're just fighting them, and that's good. And you see how, like, you're full health and they're both under half, and that's how you should have been playing this whole game. And the thing to remember when you're playing Kate, so that was good. You forced the summoner heal with that, but the thing to remember when you're playing Kate is that your late game is not as strong as Vayne's. Like, if you guys are coming out of the lane with, like, equal farm or near equal farm, which, I mean, she's only 34 CS behind you, which isn't all that bad, you're in a severe disadvantage because Vayne is much better late game. So just remember that, and you really have to bully them. So, okay, so right now, Rammus is top, which sucks because right now is a free dragon. The Sona is no mana, and the Vayne's gone, and that's a free dragon for your team. And right now, like, when you start getting them low to the point where you know they're going to have to back soon, that's when you want to start communicating with your jungle and be like, hey Rammus, you need to come bot, we're going to take dragon soon. Because if this Rammus was bottom, instead of dying top, that's a free dragon for you guys, so. So I think now's a good time to talk about taking bottom turret and when it's a good idea and when it isn't. Like in this situation, I don't think you should take this turret. You guys are doing really well in lane and you're able to zone them out, and you could keep harassing them down and pushing them out of lane if you leave that turret up there. But as soon as you take that turret, you're going to be forced to, if you're going to farm, you're going to be forced to like push up and farm out here. And that's going to kind of eliminate Kate's strength, because you're going to have less of a lane to really like harass with and dance around. And it's going to be more of a really long lane, so that if Sona and Vayne want to fight you, they're going to be able to fight you, and you're not going to be able to run away. And it's getting the point in the game where Vayne is getting pretty strong, to where you probably don't want to be fighting her. So taking this turret is going to be a mistake if you take it right now. I would leave it up pretty much as long as you could. Because the thing with bottom turret is it really doesn't give you that much control. Like, taking mid turret early is really good, because it gives you a lot of control. But taking bot turret, it really, like, it doesn't provide you with that much. So in general, like, if you're winning the lane and you're able to zone them out, try not to take the turret, because you can do a lot more things if you don't take the turret than if you do. So it looks like, I don't know why Sion started dragon, but it did kind of scare them and make them run towards him. Rammus keeps dying top, and I don't know why. I don't know why Sion is like over here when Rammus is top and dying. So that right there was just slow reaction by you. Like, we saw that Lee Sin and you could have just gotten out, but instead you had to waste your flash, but that's okay. Oh man, you have eye edge, so you guys should be all you guys should be all fighting this. So should not be afraid. Try not to bunch up for the Sona ulti though, so she can only ulti like one person. So start hitting that LeBlanc. You're gonna do a lot of damage to her. Alright, so that was definitely a bad fight, and like, LeBlanc came down, which should have been expected because we didn't see her mid. But Kennan's doing a good job, and he's probably going to be able to get this mid turret because LeBlanc did go down. The only thing is that you're probably going to lose dragon for that, or at least you should lose dragon from that. That's like a free dragon for them. But Kennan did do a good job and got mid turret since LeBlanc came down. And that's all you can ask from your mid. They either need to follow or they need to take the turret. And he took the turret, which is good. Taking mid turret gives you a lot of control. It opens up. It makes it a lot safer to take their red and their blue, so gives you pretty good control of like this area of the map now. So that was fine by Kennen. He's going to pick up some, at least, well, one kill after the dragon, so it's a decent play by Kennen. It wasn't bad. So before there, when before you died, you had a big advantage because you had Infinity Edge and Vayne did not. And so you should have been a little more aggressive and like willing to trade hits with them and stuff. But I mean, you did have a lot of traffic in your lane and you got ganked several times, so I mean, it's not a big deal. But oh, this is, don't go Boots of Swiftness, like, ever. Boots of Swiftness is a bad item. I don't like Boots of Swiftness in general. There are not that many situations where Boots of Swiftness is useful because there's just so much CC that you'll probably get hit with. If you had just headshotted that LeBlanc instead of backing away, if you crit with that headshot, you would have killed her. But you backed away for some reason. I don't know. Like, you don't have to be scared of a LeBlanc burst if Soraka's with you and her cooldowns are up. You're not gonna die. And you could have definitely killed that LeBlanc if you crit, and probably just chased her for the kill. So, but yeah, don't go Boots of Swiftness in general ever. Berserker Graves are just so good on AD carries. They're really the only boots you should pretty much ever consider. You don't need Merc Treads because you shouldn't really be getting stunned. Like, if you have proper positioning, you don't need Merc Treads. Yeah, and Boots of Swiftness just, like, you don't need them. I would always get Berserker Greaves on AD carries. Almost no exception. That was very scary of you, because I think that was Malfault range. And stopping to Q like that, you could have gotten ultied and you would have died. So that was like very scary for me. I got a little scared, but it's okay. Malphite didn't ult. You might have been like just on the very edge of that ulti, but it was still scary. That was scary to stick around that close too, because if Lee Sin landed that Q, you might have been in trouble. So right now, you should be like your team should be pushing top really hard, because there's 4 of them bottom here. You guys should not be like chasing this. This is you just need to run. It's a good job like killing Vayne, but still, this is 4v3. You're not going to come out on top of this. So that was silly. Don't engage fights 4v3. It's pretty easy to determine that you're going to lose that fight. So. Yeah, Malphite has Frozen Heart, so that's bad. He's going to slow your attack speed a lot. You're probably going to need a Last Whisper pretty soon here, because Malphite has a lot of armor, and you're going to end up hitting Malphite a lot in team fights. He's going to, in a lot of situations, he's going to be the only one that you can hit. So you can finish your Phantom Dancer, and then I'd go Last Whisper, because not only is Malphite going to have armor, Lee Sin's going to have armor soon too. It looks like he's, well actually he's going like, I guess he's going Trinity Force. But he has this Giant's Belt, which makes me think he's going either Frozen Mallet or Warmogs, because he has the Ruby Crystal too. And so it just makes me think that he has an Atmos coming, which is going to give him some armor. But so in a lot of fights, Malphite's going to be the one that you have to hit. So Last Whisper is definitely something to consider. So now with red buff, you want to really make sure that you're doing right click harass. So there you go, good right clicks, but you have to be really scared, because if that Malphite ults you, things are going to be bad. So if Malphite ult is up and Malphite's like towards the front, you need to play like back. You need to be really scared. Malphite ult is really their only initiation, that and Sona ult, so you need to stay away from Malphite and Sona so that they can't ult you. Especially Malphite, because you can't cleanse his ult. And right there, you cleanse anyway, which is fine, but so good job hitting the Lee Sin. When you're playing AD carry, you always want to hit like the highest damage guy that you're in range of. So that one thing I want to say is like don't ulti right there. Like there were still people to right click, and if you can right click, don't ulti, because your right clicks are gonna do more DPS. And like you could have just killed the Lee Sin with right clicks, and now you would have ulti to pick up possibly pick up the Malphite. So that was pretty good team fight by you. Like Malphite ulted 3 people. That was really good engage by him, and I'm surprised his team wasn't able to follow up. But it's also hard to initiate against a Kennen, because Kennen just like ulted their whole team once he did that. So it was a pretty good team fight by you. Just don't ult in the middle of a fight. Like when you hit this point in the game with Caitlyn, don't ult and don't Q in team fights. Just right click, because your right click is going to do much more DPS. This game is definitely going really well for you guys. Getting that early inhib is nice. You guys are low, but you have a Soraka, so you're never really low with a Soraka. Yeah, and Wolfie's watching this. He says, "I did not ult to kill Lee Sin though, and I know you didn't ult to kill Lee Sin, but I don't know who you were ulting to kill, but like it doesn't matter. You still should have." You still should have been right clicking, because you lost a lot of DPS by channeling that ulti. And like if the teams were closer and that fight was closer, that might have lost you the fight by losing that DPS by channeling that ulti. So ultis are only for like if you really want to, you can use that at the beginning of a fight to just to do a little bit of initiating. Like if they have like if their Sona or someone squishy is exposed and you could land an ulti on them, no problem, then it's not a bad idea. at the beginning of a fight, but I don't like doing that. I see a lot of people will do that, but I don't like doing that. I much prefer to save it just for the end of a fight. So looks like you're going Bloodthirster, and that's okay. It's not a bad choice, since Malphite's the only one with armor. But Last Whisper still might be a better choice, just to help kill that Malphite. And I mean, Sona does have the Aegis in her aura, so everyone does get a decent amount of armor. Like Vayne's at 79, Lee Sin's at 108. So Last Whisper, I probably would have gone Last Whisper here, but Bloodthirster will do you okay. I don't think that one is significantly better than the other in this situation. So, like, if they had a second person who's getting a lot of armor, then Last Whisper would definitely be the right choice. But Last Whisper should, like, really almost always be your third item on AD carry. Like, Last Whisper should be your go-to third item, and you should look for like a specific situation where you wouldn't go Last Whisper. But that's just my 2 cents on Last Whisper. And the reasoning behind that is, if you're playing AD carry properly, and if they're playing in team fights properly, then the only person that you're going to be in range to hit is like their tanky DPS. And tanky DPS almost always get a lot of armor, because that's the tanky part. So you need Last Whisper to kill them. And oftentimes teamfights are determined by like what team can kill the other team's tanks first. So this should definitely be a dead Sona. That was good not to cleanse that. Like, it's not that important to kill that Sona, and you guys are probably going to kill her anyway. So it was a good idea not to waste your cleanse. It was definitely a waste of a Malphite ult. Like, that Sona was for sure dead. Oh yeah, that's a good point. So Shishigami and IRC is saying, and I'm going to say this for everyone who watches this, but you can, like, when you're fighting Baron, make sure to move around, because he drops like this green puddle of goop on the ground, and if you just sidestep it, you don't get like the big knock-up that knocks you up and does a lot of damage. So. And there we see you were hitting Malphite, and like I said, because in fights you're going to be hitting a lot of Malphite. So at this point, you should just... okay, sometimes you're too committed to fights, and you need to realize that to the point where, like, you can't run. And that was a situation where you were not going to be able to run away. With Malphite slow on you, like, you can't run. So you should have just fought. Like, you probably could have killed that Vayne. Like, if you had a headshot ready when you ran, and if you headshot critted on their Vayne, she would have just instantly died. Anytime you're playing anyone, you need to realize if you're too committed to a fight to run away. And if you are, don't try to run, because all that does is it just lets them kill you for free. Sometimes you just need to stay and fight and try to take some people down with you. So this is especially important if you're playing melee champions. Melee champions go into a fight, and most melee champions don't leave fights unless they're dead or they kill everyone else. So, like, I know a lot of beginner players really struggle with melee champions. And the biggest tip I can give to people struggling with melee champions is, like, be a man. Go in and you fight to the death. Like, especially like Xin Zhao is the perfect example. When Jin goes in, he doesn't leave unless he kills someone or he dies. So Black Cleaver in this situation would be a better option for everyone except Malphite. That's true, but like, you don't know if they're going to build armor in the future. That's why Last Whisper is still really good as a third item, because it still helps for all the armor they might build in the future. And there's a lot of hate for Black Cleaver being expressed in IRC, but I think Black Cleaver is a slightly underrated item. It can be pretty good. But in general, Last Whisper is so much better. Like we saw in that last team fight, you still hit Malphite quite a bit, and if you had Last Whisper, it would help a lot. So, like, you get Last Whisper because sure, you want to be hitting the people that don't have armor, and in that situation, yeah, Black Cleaver is better, but you don't get to hit those people. Like, you get to hit the tanks if they're playing correctly. You shouldn't ever really be able to hit their high damage squishy people unless they're playing poorly or you've already won the fight. So, like, here we go, hitting Malphite. Yeah, and that's another reason why Black Cleaver isn't as good as it seems. It's really hard to keep attacking the same target in team fights. And like, I just want to point out, this whole fight, all you've hit is Lee Sin and Malphite, the two people with the most armor on their team. So. And yep. So just wanted to point that out there for people watching who don't like building Last Whisper. And that's like that whole fight. The only people you hit were Malphite and Lee Sin, the tankiest people on their team, and that's why you get Last Whisper, because you were not able to attack anyone else. That wasn't like poor play on you for attacking them. That was just good play on them, where they're positioned correctly to the point where the only people you can attack are Malphite and Lee Sin. And if you had Last Whisper, you might have been able to take that Malphite down a lot quicker to turn that fight around. So. Yeah, and once again, I said that before, but at this point in the game, you don't queue in team fights. The only time you're going to end up queuing is like checking bushes, poking them from really far range. But if you're in range to auto attack, you should auto attack. Not only does using a Q is going to lower your damage output at this point, but not only that, what it's also going to do is it forces you to sit still. Like, you have to sit there and shoot it, and that's very dangerous in team fights. Like BC, yeah, like you should have a Last Whisper. Like if you didn't have this BF sword, you'd have enough for a Last Whisper, and team fights would be easy peasy. I can't stress how important Last Whisper is enough on AD carries. So. Because you still lose, even if you hit like 3 people with your Q, you still lose damage output from right clicks. Like if you crit on a right click at this point, you're going to do more damage than hitting like 4 people with a Q, since it does less damage for each person you hit. Like, wow, it's 500 damage on the first hit, and your right click is going to be faster. You can probably get like 2 to 3 autos in the time that you would have queued. So. Yeah, so the reasons why Q is not good is that A, it doesn't crit, and B, you get like 2 to 3 autos off in the time it takes you to do a Q. So, yeah, and Pezzy brought up a good point in IRC. Another reason you get Last Whisper is to make your abilities do more damage. So this is really bad play of your team. Okay, so good play by you. But once again, look, you're either not auto attacking or you're hitting. You had to ult LeBlanc, but the only auto attacks you got off were on Malphite. So the only time really to use Q late game on Kate is like long range poke, where you're not in range to auto attack, because Q still has a really far range, and it's good to like siege turrets. It's also very good to clear minion waves. But if you're in range to auto attack, you don't Q on Kate late game. But it still has a lot of uses. Like, it's still very, very good at poking and very good for clearing waves and stuff. Yeah, and doesn't require vision. You can Q over walls and everything. So things are looking really good for you. You guys are definitely going to win this game. So overall, it's a pretty good game. Like, you had pretty decent positioning in team fights. You just have to be very careful around Malphites. Like, if a Malphite ults AD carry, that's often like a winning fight for the Malphite team. So be careful around Malphites. With Caitlyn, just right click in team fights. That's literally all you do. You right click and throw traps. That's all you do in team fights is Caitlyn. And in lane, you have to be a huge bully. You have to. That's how you play Caitlyn. If you're not going to be a bully in lane as Caitlyn, don't pick Caitlyn. Oh man, that was nice of you. You gave Rammus a kill. One person in IRC is saying I don't think Rammus should have ulted there since the NA team was busy. Rammus ult actually has a really low cooldown. It'll be back up in no time. So yeah, it's already back up. So Rammus ult has a really low cooldown. It's not a problem to use it in like any situation. So. Yeah, so this game's over. You guys are probably just gonna push up and win. So right there again, you ulted, and that whole channel, you could have gotten 5 auto attacks off. You lost so much damage by casting that. And once again, you're mostly hitting Malphite. Overall, a pretty decent game. I would just work on a. Yeah, no, this was still a good replay. Like, I don't mind games where you win like this, where there's still a lot to talk about. But like the Nivea game I commentated, there wasn't anything I could really talk about because it was so much of a stomp. But this game I still feel was I feel like I had a lot to talk about. I think it helps that I know Caitlyn pretty well also. But yeah, that was a pretty good game. Just the biggest thing is if you're gonna play Caitlyn, you got to be a bully in lane. Work on also like paying attention to mana costs. Like there are a lot of times the Sona was out of mana and you didn't change your playstyle, and you should play a lot more aggressively when a Sona's out of mana. Yep. So, and build Last Whisper, please. Build Last Whisper. But thanks a lot for watching. That was my last replay today. I will answer questions in IRC now. So if you're watching and you're not in IRC, you should come join. Just go to my website, rockalockalulu.com, and click the IRC tab, and you can just go ahead and watch. So you're welcome, Wolfie. And I'm gonna. Did I end the recording?